Let's go through each of these statements to decide whether or not they're each true. So first things first, all functions have inverses. Well, we know that that's not true. Some functions, like y equals x squared, don't pass the horizontal line test, so this doesn't have an inverse. We can't check this first one off then. Moving on to the second one, we have all inverse functions have inverses. This one is true. If we start off with one function and reflect it across the line y equals x, if we start off with one function and then reflect it across the line y equals x, and end up with another function, then the second function is the inverse of the first one. But if we reflect the second one back across the line y equals x again, we'll end up with its inverse, which is the first one. This is basically the same as the property I showed you before. If we have a function, f inverse, that we know is the inverse of f, and then we take its inverse, that just equals the original function, f. So yes to the second choice. Now third, we have a function's domain can influence whether or not it has an inverse. This one is definitely true. We saw this with our parabola, which we took only portions of and saw that those portions had inverses while the whole parabola didn't. And we also saw the same thing with our absolute value function. Fourth, all functions pass the vertical and horizontal line tests. Well, all functions pass the vertical line test. That's how we know that they're functions. But not all of them pass the horizontal line test. So this isn't true. The last choice, however, is true. All inverse functions pass both the vertical and horizontal line tests. Inverse functions are functions, so they pass the vertical line test. And since inverse functions all have inverses, as we already decided, that means they have to pass the horizontal line test as well. Now, I personally think this was a really, really tough quiz. This required you to show some very in-depth understanding of inverse functions and to think really critically about all of these statements. Awesome job on this quiz and on the entire lesson.